Hey guys, today we are starting with osteology. And first of all, what means osteology? Osteology is derived from two words, osteon and logy. Osteon means bone and logy means study. So, study of bone is known as osteology. And os in Latin we term as bone. In Latin, os is termed as bone. So what will be the definition of osteology? That is, it is the study of bone tissue. Bone tissue, it is a type of connective tissue characterized by hard mineralized substance and collagen fiber and specialized cells. Bone tissue has structural, sportive and protective functions. So first of all, we will take the overview of our skeleton. Our skeleton is composed of axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial part is this, and upper limb, lower limb, pelvic girdle and pectoral girdle comes in the appendicular skeleton. So first of all, we will know what comes in axial skeleton, that is skull, and then ribs, then vertebral column, and next is our appendicular skeleton. It composed of bones of upper limb, bones of lower limb, and upper girdle, that is pectoral girdle, and lower girdle, that is pelvic girdle. So how many bones total present in our adult human body? That is 206, from which axial skeleton composed 80 and appendicular skeleton has 66 bones. Sorry, not 66, that is 64 plus 62, that is 6 and 126 bones. Means upper limb has 60 bones, lower limb have 60 bones. Pectoral girdle consists of Our pectoral girdle consists of 2 bones, and pectoral girdle consists of 4 bones, that is our sternum and clavicle, and pelvic girdle consists of 2 bones. Now next we will see types of bones. Types of bone. First is our long bone, and second is our small bone or short bone. Third is our flat bone. Fourth is our irregular bone, and fifth is our pneumatized bone that consists of air, and sixth is our, that is here, sesamoid bone. Now example of every bone. Long bone example, femur, humerus, and most of the our limb bones. And in small, that is example are carpals, and in flat bones, that is example is sternum. Irregular bones example is vertebra, and pneumatized bone example is sphenoid and ethmoid, and sesamoid bone example is patella, that is our kneecap, and some parts of toe, upper toe, and our thumb. Toe means foot toe. Next we will deal with types of parts of the long bones. Parts of long bone. Long bone has parts. One is our diaphysis, second is our epiphysis, third is our apophysis, and fourth is our metaphysis. Diaphysis. It is the shaft part of the bone, so also known as shaft, and it have it is derived from primary ossification center, and which is only 1 in number. So diaphysis is also 1 in number, and this diaphysis is also known as shaft part of the bone and primary ossification center. It comes after 6 to 7 weeks of intrauterine life. This again we will study in the hyaline cartilage model. And epiphysis, it is the end part of the bone, so also known as end part of bone or head part of the bone, and it can be multiple in number, so more than one in number, and it is derived from secondary center of ossification which comes after birth. Now we will see apophysis. Apophysis, it is that part which don't include in epiphysis but had secondary center of ossification. In metaphysis, it comes on the growth plate. And next we will see our histology of our bones. Histology of bone. Bone composed of bone tissue. Second, our periosteum and bone marrow. So first of all, we will see bone tissue. Bone tissue. We have cells, and then we have matrix, bone matrix, and then we have cells, matrix, and then we will study component of bone, and in last we will study organization of bone. So first of all, we will see cells. We have in bones osteoprogenitor cells, or also known as stem cells. They give rise to osteoblast and osteoclast because they are the stem cells of our bone. And osteoblast, it has function of secretion of bone matrix, secretion function, and further when osteoblast get mature, it don't secrete bone matrix, it has only function to maintain the serum calcium level, and it is known as osteocytes. Means osteocyte is not a new cells, it is just the mature form of osteoblast. Next is our osteoclast. Osteoclast is our bone reabsorbing cells. They reabsorb the bone by phagocytosis, and they are the derivatives of our blood monocytes, so they are multinucleated. Function of osteoclast is bone resorption, and it gives shape to our bone. It remove the roughness of bone, make it smooth, and it is multinucleated because it derives from blood monocytes. Next we will see matrix. So matrix, it has organic components and non-organic components. Non-organic, or we can name as inorganic component. Organic components includes collagen fibers or osine and unmineralized ground substance that consist of proteins. Example, osteocalcin, osteonectin, and osteopontin. And it consists of glycosaminoglycans, lipids, and carbohydrates. Next is our inorganic compound. Inorganic compounds consist of tricalcium phosphate and hydroxyapatite. Tricalcium phosphate and hydroxyapatite and calcium carbonate. Now we will see our component of our bone. So component of our bone. Our bone has compact bone, or this is also known as organization of our bone, compact bone and spongious bone. So we will name it organization mainly. So first of all, name it organization. Compact is also known as cortical part. It is the hardest part of our bone, hardest part, and it is mainly present in the shaft region of our bone. Spongious, as its name shows, spongious, it look like sponge, and it has some spaces in the bone, and it is mainly present in the end part of the bone and near bone marrow. And compact or cortical part has Haversian system, which is not present in the spongious bone. Next, we will see our bone type of bone tissue. Type of bone tissue. Bone tissue consists of primary bone and secondary bone. Primary bone have irregular arrangement of the collagen fibers, and it is present mainly during development of the bone, and it comes in the area after the fracture also. So first of all, irregular arranged collagen fibers are present, and it is present mainly during birth, and it during bone development or during bone development, and it comes in the area of fracture or injury of the bone. First bone to come in the area of the injury of the bone. In the injury of the bone. Next we will see secondary bone tissue, that is, it is more mature bone, and it has osteon or Haversian system present. Osteon or Haversian system present. Haversian system consists of Haversian canal, and which consists of nerves, vessels, that is arteries or veins, and Volkmann canal. Volkmann canal, Haversian canal are longitudinal canals that is present longitudinally in the bone, and Volkmann's canals are horizontal canals which interconnects every Haversian canal. So Volkmann canal. Now we will see our favorite bone marrow. Bone marrow. Bone marrow is of two types, red bone marrow and second is our yellow bone marrow. Red bone marrow is also known as hematopoietic organ because it forms all blood cells. So it is known as hematopoietic organ because it forms hematopoietic cells, and from birth until adulthood hematopoiesis occur in this in the red bone marrow, and red bone marrow during birth is present, or after birth in the child is present in the diaphysis region of our long bones. And after some times, when red bone marrow comes in the secondary center of ossification or epiphysis region, then this bone marrow have invasion of adipocytes, which forms adipose tissue in between it and forms yellow bone marrow. So yellow bone marrow develops after red bone marrow in the diaphysis region of the long bones, and it is composed mainly of adipose tissue, no hematopoietic function, and it is located in the medulla of the long bones in adult. Okay, next we will see development of bone ossification. Development and bone ossification. So bone ossification, it takes by two means. First of all, our endochondral ossification, and second is intramembranous. Endochondral ossification, it takes place mainly in all bones, and intramembranous ossification mainly takes place in the skull bone and some part of clavicle. Remember this, that in skull, intermembranous ossification takes place, but not in the base of skull, not in base of skull. Base of skull have endochondral type of bone ossification, and endochondral ossification takes place by hyaline cartilage model type, and intramembranous ossification takes place by fibrous cartilaginous model type. Fibrous cartilaginous model says that osteoblasts differentiate directly from the mesenchymal cells, and hyaline cartilage model says that first cartilage will form, then bone will form. First cartilage will form from mesenchyme, then from cartilage bone will form. So first of all, we will see how ossification by hyaline cartilage model takes place. Hyaline cartilage model. It says that mesenchymal cells first form hyaline cartilage, and in 6 to 7 weeks of intrauterine life, in 6 to 7 weeks of intrauterine life, there appear periosteum, primary center of ossification, and bone collar, and then after some time blood vessel invasion takes place in the primary center of ossification, and here appears primary bone marrow, and after birth secondary center of ossification also arises, and after some time blood vessel invasion takes place in the secondary center of ossification, and it will change into epiphysis, and in the primary bone marrow changes into bone marrow, developed bone marrow, and here epiphysis comes. This is our not adult bone because it consists of hyaline cartilage somewhat here and somewhat on the end of the bone. The cartilage which is present in the epiphyseal end of the diaphysis is known as growth plate or epiphyseal plate. These are the growth center. This here mainly bone growth takes place from this region, so this is known as growth plate. And in the adult, when all bone growth takes place, then this cartilage changes into metaphysis, and our adult bone consists of only articular cartilage, which can't change, or it is present, persists throughout life. It don't degrade. It degrade only in the pathological state of adults, that is osteo, that is in pathological condition. Which disease? Tell me. Disease is known as osteoarthritis. And in osteoarthritis, during aging, this articular cartilage degrade, and because it provides smooth movement in the joints, so in the case of osteoarthritis, there is no smooth movement in the joints and pain occurs. Next, we will see our skull. Skull consists of neurocranium and viscerocranium. Skull consists of neurocranium and viscerocranium. Neurocranium means skull cap, that is brain box, and viscerocranium means facial skeleton. Neurocranium further divided into cranial vault and cranial base. Cranial vault includes parietal bone, frontal bone, occipital bone, and cranial base includes temporal bone, sphenoid bone, and ethmoid bone. In the next page, we will see precisely every bone of our skull. So, neurocranium, it consists of cranial vault and base and cranial base. Cranial vault, it includes parietal bone and frontal bone and occipital bone, and base includes temporal bone, sphenoid bone, and ethmoid bone. Now we will see our viscerocranium in our next page. Viscerocranium, our facial skeleton, it composed of lacrimal bone, zygomatic bone, or nasal bone. Third is our nasal bone, vomer, inferior nasal concha, maxilla, mandible, palatine bone, and last is our hyoid bone. Now, from the next video, we will see each and every bone precisely. Thank you for listening me. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you like. Thank you.